Good evening. So it's Tuesday. It's time for me to do a Facebook Live and come and chat to you. And today I wanted to come and talk to you about pricing. So this topic has come up a few times in various conversations that I've had with clients and such over the last few weeks. And it's a really interesting one. And let's face it, pricing is a big subject when it comes to any business, but especially a service-based business. The topic of how much should I charge is everywhere, and it's slightly taboo because people don't particularly like sharing what they charge all the time, and it's one of those subjects that people can be a little bit funny about. So let's dig into it, because actually, if you can't get your pricing right, that can actually, that can be a problem in your business. So I've put here, how much should you charge for your time? And let's kind of talk about it first, because if you're getting your pricing wrong, either way, it can cause problems for your business. So if you're charging too little, at best, that can make you feel resentful. It can lessen your passion for your work. It can lessen your kind of enthusiasm and just make it feel pretty rubbish if you know that you're working and you're not getting what you're worth, you're not getting your value. It kind of sucks. And we don't want that as business owners. One of the reasons a lot of us go into business is so that we can earn what we're worth, and we can kind of set that bar a bit higher. So another problem with charging too little is that ultimately, you can go out of business because if you're not getting enough money in, you can't pay the bills, and you eventually have to give up and go back to a 9 to 5, and no one wants that. So that's one of the issues if you're charging too little. If you're charging too much, there are also issues there. So, potentially you could end up charging yourself out of the market, especially if you are charging a price that you're not comfortable with. And that's really where the issue is with charging too much. Is oftentimes we can set a price that we feel we should charge because we want to charge our worth, we want to charge our value, but our mindset isn't quite there yet. When it comes to sales, your mindset has to be, on it. You have to believe it, you have to own it. And if you don't, that comes across in your sales. And it's very difficult to sell if you don't fully kind of own and believe the price that you are charging. And so when you are setting a price that, is too high for your kind of current state of mind, that can be a problem too, because that's going to affect your sales. So how much should you be charging? And very specifically here, I have worded my question, how much should you charge for your time? And it's kind of a trick question. And the reason for that is my main point here that I want to make in this live is that you should not be charging for time. And I don't mean by that you should be working for free. No. What I do mean is it's a really, it can be a really bad tactic to charge per hour, per day, to have a day rate, any of this kind of stuff. And I'm going to tell you why. And there's a few reasons, and I've written them down so that I don't forget them, because they're all really good reasons. So number one, let's talk about charging, a day rate, charging per time. Let's say, for example, in my career, since I've been in business, I have been both a professional copywriter and a professional social media manager. And, they're both kind of service-based businesses where a lot of people are charging for time. They're charging, this client, they pay me for 4 hours a month or whatever it may be. And the problem with that is that as you get more experienced, you get better and you get faster. You're able to kind of lean up your processes, you become more efficient, and you get faster at doing the same work. So as an example, when I was doing my social media management, by the time I was kind of well into it, I'd been a year into it or so. Over the course of that year, I had got a hell of a lot faster at doing what I did. I could schedule out, a month's worth of posts for a client in half a day. Now, that doesn't mean I want to start charging less because I'm taking less time. Absolutely not. Because ultimately the client is still getting the same. And if anything, probably better, because by now I'm more experienced and I'm better at what I do. So I definitely don't want to be charging less because I'm taking less time. So that's one very good reason why you shouldn't be charging per hour per day, and basically basing your pricing on time. Another reason is it kind of lessens the value of your work. So let me instead now give you the example of a copywriter. So I also did copywriting in my time, and you tell me. So if I let's say I am working on a sales page for a client, okay, does it sound better for me to say, yeah, I've done a day's work for this client? Or does it sound better to say, I have created a sales page that is going to generate X amount of revenue, or that it's going to convert at 40%, or what you're charging, what you want to be thinking of when you're thinking of your pricing is more the value that you're giving. And if you're just kind of quantifying your value by by the hour or by the day, that really lessens it in the eye of your clients, and probably for you as well. So like, to really kind of own the value of what you're doing, you're much better at actually focusing on the value of what you're doing. What are the results that you're achieving for your clients? What's the end product? What is the transformation, depending on what you do? It's so much more than half a day's work, 6 hours work, because that's kind of meaningless. And it really, so when you're kind of thinking of it in those terms, it really does kind of devalue what you're doing. So kind of get into the habit of thinking of it more in terms of the value, the results, the transformation, and kind of basing your pricing more around that rather than the time spent. More reasons. I've got so many reasons for you. So more reasons. So just in the same way as when you only talk about kind of how long, well, I'm going to charge you for 6 hours work, or I'm going to charge you for a day's work, whatever it may be, suddenly you are now in competition with anyone who can do it quicker. From your client's perspective, they're now thinking, oh, okay, so if I can get someone who can do this in, half a day instead of a day, they're going to charge me less and they'll be better. And so suddenly, instead of, competing for quality, you're competing, you're kind of like in a race to the bottom of the pool to see who can be the quickest and who can, and no one wants to be in that race. I don't know about you, I definitely don't want to be in that race. I want to be someone who's known for my quality, for the results, for the value, not for, oh yeah, she could do it in half a day, or she could do, oh yeah, get her and she's, she'll just charge you for a couple of hours. You can see the difference. So that's another reason, is it kind of it puts you in competition with a whole different group of people, and you don't want to be in that competition. Okay, now my last point is really, I want to try and just completely turn the kind of pricing per hour thing on its head, because so often I kind of come across this when I talk to other coaches, and really, it's a lot of people in the service-based business world, where we are kind of thinking of value in terms of the hours that we spend doing something. So it could be like, for example, a coaching package, to achieve a certain result, say, for example, we're talking about a personal fitness coach who wants to coach someone to get to run the 10K. Running is on my mind all the time now, as you may know if you've been around these parts for a while. But so you work with a coach to help you train to run the 10K. Now, in theory, you could kind of go, oh well, I'm going to work with you for 6 months. We're going to achieve this over 6 months, and this is going to cost you X amount. Now, I don't know about you, but if I could find a coach that would go, oh, actually no, I can get you to achieve this in 3 months. To me, that's worth more. That's not worth less. If I can get there faster, yay, I'm going to pay more for that. If you go to a dentist and you need some work done, and they kind of go, okay, well, I can, I could take half a day to do this, or I could take 2 hours, or I could take 30 minutes. You know, both the quality for each of those is the same. I know which one I'm going for. I'm going for the quick one. I want to be in and out. I want it done fast. And oftentimes that's what your clients want too. So if you're basing your value on the time you take to do something, in terms of the more time you take, the more you charge, that's not necessarily equating to where the actual value is. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm not explaining this very well, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of turn that on its head a bit and get you to really think about that. So if pricing is something that you're kind of currently struggling with or unsure about, feeling a bit insecure about, then I hope I've given you some feed for thought. Let me know if that is you, by the way. I'd be really interested to know, because I suspect there's an awful lot of people out there who feel unsure, insecure, not quite there with their pricing, whether it be, because they feel like they're charging too much, or they feel like they're charging too little, and whether that's right or wrong. I think that, there is a lot of insecurity out there about pricing. So I'd love to know if that is you and you're brave enough to admit it, then, then let me know. And also, yeah, let me know if this has helped, if this has given you some food for thought and some inspiration. If you would like some support with your pricing, if you would like to kind of work through and get some proper sort of pricing structure in place, get your kind of offers and packages kind of spick and span and price in a way that feels amazing for you and amazing to sell, then I would love to offer you a free strategy session. So that's a 60-minute strategy call. We'll jump on a phone and kind of chat it through and come up with something that feels great for you. Let me know if you're interested in that and I can pop you a link. I would ask, my time is valuable, so please only book if you are kind of serious about taking action and about kind of moving forwards with your business. If that's you, then I would love to chat to you. Let me know. I'll pop a link to book a call in the comments. So I hope that was helpful. Have a lovely rest of your evening and I shall speak to you again soon. Take care.